It's quite a cool little. Sorry, Biggie. Quite a cool little angle, actually. This is my chilling spot. Welcome into my energy field. Welcome into this. We chill a lot. I'm going to turn the football down because I imagine you can't really hear me. I've already done a video today, but I've had a weird day today. I have a weird day. Yeah. Lots of like two really like immersive connections or interactions with people, and it's weird. It's weird. I think that I definitely feel misunderstood regularly. I'm sure that's probably not that difficult. I'm definitely trying to find my mojo, trying to get my funk back. That's been missing for quite a while. Yeah, not caring what people think, but like not in the sense of like, oh, I don't give a fuck what you think, because those people do give a fuck. It's just like it's not even it's not really that much of a consideration. I realise that narcissists really struggle with that. Other people are the majority of the consideration. Narcissists seem to have put their value of themselves on external. So it seems to me that narcissists, while you probably wouldn't necessarily jump to the most toxic. Actually, if you drill down into that, that's probably a defensive reaction. So they're actually probably the most hurt and most scared and most sad people, which, when you look at it like that, it's a little bit easier to have compassion. You take the emotion out of it. I don't have. There seems to be quite a lot of them. I think we probably live in a society that nowadays is sort of encouraging it. I think it might be encouraging it so as to. I think it's control, really. I think it's control. I think the system, the way that it's set up, is just set up for us to fail. Essentially, it's well, not no. It's set up to retain the status quo, and whoever it is that has the money at the top are the ones that want it to stay the same. And it's all kind of set up in order to preserve that in the West, at least. And I think there's probably quite a large chance that the family or whoever it was that did have control of that have been really turning the screw on the media manipulation side of things. They've really pushed the pride thing, which there's a huge difference between being proud and having pride. I'm starting to join these dots, and I shared this on my Instagram, and some of my friends were like, "Oh, I think is he all right? Like, how is he joining the dots between girls having bushy eyebrows and control?" And the thing is, if you can step back from the ideologically labelled society that we live in, right? If you can step back from the attachment to these ideological labels and try and zoom out and look at things more objectively rather than subjectively and based on these ideological labels, you can zoom out and analyze it from almost like a bird's eye view. You take, you zoom out and you kind of you look and you analyze, and not even analyze, just be able to be like, question narratives. Healthy skepticism is very, very important. PSG just got really missed. Strikers, it's all mental with football. I'd be a football coach. Anyway, if you can zoom out from these attachments that we have to these labels and try and be like, well, is that the case, or is that healthy, or is that right? That's really important. PSG made me lose my trail of thought a little bit, but I suppose what I'm getting at is there is objectively the possibility that there are people, a globalist elite, a team of people with the money that are behind and above sort of the politicians. Now, if they probably work in tandem, I'm not entirely sure. I definitely think it's to do with natural resources. I think the green agenda was purposely pushed because the West, the people that were controlling the States and Europe, which presumably was the same people for quite a while, they now know, and all the other areas of the world, the religions, the whatever you want to call it, the subsects, the groups, the other globalist families, the elites that control everything. Everyone now knows and has known for ages that the controlling family of Europe and the States has little left to bargain on. They've military and economically. They control the media. If you follow the money, you go on to Wikipedia, you go on to MTV, right? Okay, so I had a bee in my bonnet. I was like analysing, like something clicked in my head where it was like, is society a reflection of media, or is media a reflection of society? Because we live in a world where you would presume that media reflects society, and that's kind of what we just accept, or I at least, in my conscious awareness, have accepted to be the case, that the media reflects society. But actually, when you start questioning bigger things and zooming out and looking objectively, my head got to a point where I was like, maybe it's the other way around. Maybe society reflects media. And that would be something where it would be easier to view in another area. So for example, we were told for a long time that Russia was under this big propaganda, whatever you want to call it, campaign. So if you look at it in terms of that, so they'll put stuff in their media that then twists the narrative, that then twists the population. But if you work that back, like, are we that special that we didn't get that? Are things going that well in this part of the world that we're immune to things like that? And then the penny started dropping for me, and I was sort of, this doesn't feel right, I was thinking, this doesn't feel right. And then it dawned on me that there's quite a large possibility that society reflects the media rather than the other way around. And then what I did was follow the money. So you can go on. So I realised this, and I was looking at culture, and I was looking at societal trends and what the knock-on impact of those were globally, I guess, societally. And a good example, or the best example I can think of really, is the Geordie Shore, Jersey Shore thing. Now, it's more obvious in England because there is a binge drinking culture. But I was definitely on the page that Geordie Shore, at the very least, exacerbated that and glamorized it. Oh, and the big one that I noticed was the NWA. This is how I got onto it as well. I noticed that this, in inverted commas, black culture was keeping people of darker skin. It was, what's the word? Marginalizing them, keeping them in a box which isn't conducive to them getting out of the box, basically. I don't know if I put my hat on or not. Yeah, so that was one place where my thinking went, because they still use the N word, and I understand that's probably that I understand from what I gather that's big. Let's just say like they're flipping it around, and like we can say it and you can't, or whatever. But if you analyse the the culturally, in inverted commas, black music. So I was really big into Rick Ross, right? And I heard that Rick Ross was actually a prison guard. And I went back and listened to some of his music recently after the penny had dropped, that media doesn't reflect society reflects media. And it's like coke white Mercedes talking about drug dealing, all this stuff. And I'm just like, that messaging probably isn't conducive to young people that are interested in that scene, and or young people of darker skin. That attachment to the portrayal of the archetype within that music is not something that is beneficial to be, what's the word, reenacted. So when I was younger, me and my friends used to do the wrestling, and we used to practice it. It'd say at the beginning, "Don't try this at home." And we were like, "We're fucking trying this at home. We're going fucking bam, fucking bam, bam, fairly biggie." And it is kind of like that. Like, I was wondering, like, is there a possibility that if we put, so this is another way where I got to this years ago. I've been thinking about this for years, right? Call of Duty, right, and Pokemon. They're the two that, Call of Duty was the one that I thought, oh, that's weird, because it's linked to dopamine. So in Call of Duty, you pop someone's head off, sniper, you get camping, you put your claymores down, you bam, right, dopamine hit, XP, bam, you level up your character, right? But that's normalizing shooting people in the head with a sniper rifle. Now, if there was another way to get that same dopamine hit that wasn't normalizing popping heads, hip fire, is there a possibility that that would have a better, more positive impact on society than something that maybe glamorized entrepreneurship, for example, or building good karma for oneself, things like that? And maybe if there was a game where shooting wasn't the XP dopamine builder, then that might present something that might be more beneficial to society. So I've been thinking about this stuff for ages, right? Obviously not all through time. I have to overanalyze other stuff. Overanalyzing as well. I got a little bit miffed with someone that bought me a book saying, "Stop overthinking and get your act together." I was like, Christ, are you to judge me? Anyway, it's important to question and analyse. Like, footballers are rubbish nowadays. They're very technically good, but they're not. So I've noticed that for a long time that there are things within the media that are not necessarily conducive to, like, happy, harmonistic, if that's a word, harmony within society. The glamorizing of killing, the normalizing of war, the dopamine hits linked to taking territories and normalizing of getting some little creatures that fight for you, that you're going to fuck up the enemy. And we give that to kids and wrap it up in fluffy, cute Pikachus, Charmanders and such, when we could actually just have silly little doggies. Not so silly. Why are you being silly, sausage? This one makes me laugh on purpose. What? He's not happy about that. Woke him up. Why? Yeah, so I don't know. I've been thinking about this for a long time. It appears quite obvious to me. Once the penny drops, it's like, oh well. maybe there's a possibility that the people that are in control don't necessarily have my best interests at heart. And if I've been thrown under the bus by the system, and by the school, and by the police, and by people, thrown under the bus on multiple occasions, you learn to not trust properly the system and people that have supposed to have authority and duty of care. Every single facet, basically, I've felt let down, and with good reason, I would suggest. Very much emphasised by my most recent escapades within the judicial system. Which is designed to punish forever those that dare question the rules and regulations of the system that's decided that they know best, and we can't question it. And even in England and UK now, you literally can't protest. They've taken away that. PSG just won. I don't really care anymore, but that's a good thing. It's interesting. I think that with so this is where I was going with it. So if you follow the money, right? So Geordie Shore, you go to MTV, okay? Who owns MTV? Because I was like, who's making the decisions of what goes into what we ingest, take in, digest, whatever you want to call it. Because your diet isn't just the food that you eat. It's the media that you take, it's the music that you listen to, it's the TV that you watch, it's the energy, it's the vibrational charge of whatever you are watching, and it will create or it will bring about what you have in your immediate consciousness. Within your immediate consciousness, you can attract different things. If you want to attract more positive things, do more positive things. If you want to attract more negative things, attract more. That's why you get groups of people that don't tend to be the same, generally speaking. Like attracts like. And we live in a society that almost demonises these sorts of views. You're seen as like hippie woo-woo. And but then we're supposed to put all of our faith in this system that profits from giving us pills. When, from personal experience, the pills can create more problems. They can help, but they can also create more problems. And the only way of fixing all of that sort of mental health bullshit, because it is bullshit, because they don't know what they're talking about, because it's a grey area. You can, if you've got a broken leg, my leg's broken, whack a plaster on it or whatever, plaster cast. Yeah, if something's going on up here, how can you label that? It's a grey area. It's nuanced. It's impossible to label it. It's not a thing. It's not tangible. How can you label something that's not tangible? Understand? Am I making sense? This is a grey area. This is consciousness. This is not chemical imbalance bullshit. Look, don't get me wrong, there is that side of it, but that's not the whole thing. And if you look at it from just that being the whole thing, we run into situations where we put too much power in these things, these people that have this bit. But is the situation going all that well at the moment? Are you, the watcher of this video, happy with the situation of the place where you live? If you're a little bit older, if you're sort of 20, 25 and over, you will have seen, especially in the UK, you will have seen tangible changes, none of which seem to have benefited. Well, who have they benefited? I wouldn't suggest it's the people that were already here. I'm not saying that immigration, that's a completely different issue. whatever creed or colour you identify yourself, whatever labels you identify yourself with, whatever culture you think that you fit into, who has it benefited? I think they've known that it's fucked for a while. I think there's a very large possibility that the powers that be that had control over the UK, Europe, and the States now don't have control of the States. And if you follow the money from MTV, you go to that pot, you go to that, so that's a subsidiary, which means it's a company below a company. Okay, so who runs MTV? Okay, we'll go above there. It'll be a studio. Okay, who runs that studio? Who runs that studio? Follow it all the way up the hierarchy. And it's typically the same names, same similar people, same companies, same types of people. Now, this is where problems arise because you can't question anything based on creed or colour, especially as a white man, right? But it seems to me that there was, or is, a controlling globalist elite that's considered that Jewish people. This is not, Jewish people are not bad. It's these people. They just happen to be Jewish. And if you trace all the people in the media, you go up. They're all these similar types of Jewish people and names. And if you go through their history, they all link back to Israel. And I don't know whether or not that's a good thing, but I do believe that there is the possibility that they've known for ages that they're running out of natural resources and they've purposely manipulated society to slow down population, to kill off the weak, and to control us and fuck with our heads, basically. And the first one out of the trenches always gets popped. But like fucking Neo, baby, excuse my French. No, the truth is I'm getting whacked with the shots. I'm not a Neo. I'm getting whacked with the shots. I'm not dodging these shots. I'm getting hit with every single one. But I don't know, by the grace of God, I'm able to pick myself up and dust myself off and do it again and again and again and again and again. It's sad that we found ourselves in this situation. And I believe that the powers that be that had control over the States are now sort of, it's fading. I think there's probably a power struggle at the top. There's some sort of merger going on within the company that owns, called like Skydance Media. Basically, there's a new guard coming in because the old guard basically fucked it, and now they've twisted society so much that society started pushing back because people have ended up voting for Trump instead of demonising him, and the left, the extreme left, that's sort of been created by this controlling family, call them, that want to keep control over I think this is big shit. I think this is Age of Empires type world control type stuff. I think they've lost control. I think it's probably based on natural resources, and I think that Europe is the last stand. I think they know that they're fucked. I think all the other big families that control other parts of the world know that they're fucked, and I think this is the final fight. I think this is the final fight for freedom, and I think Donald Trump and the powers that are with him or behind him, or I think he's, say what you want about him, but he is opening the doors for freedom. And if you don't believe that, ask yourself why you don't believe that, okay? This is really important. If you don't believe the things that I'm saying, right, ask yourself why you don't believe the things that I'm saying, okay? And then you'll go to the place of, and take your time with it, because it's a lot of stuff. Okay, so let's take an example. Okay, let's take, see if I can do that. See if I can articulate this, because this is important. So if you don't believe something that I'm saying, right, this is important. Take a drink of water. Okay, let's take COVID vaccine as an example. There was a huge, I've got a hat here now. There there was a huge thing about anti-vax and those people being second grade, looked down upon, sort of pariahed in a sense, right? Okay, so you take the COVID vaccine, right? And the anti-vax label, so I'm saying that, as I did at the time, that, my hair's annoying me, that the COVID vaccine was not something that I felt comfortable to take, okay? Hypothetically speaking, which is actually not true, but, and I say that, that's a good example. No, come on, this is important because I want people to understand it. If you don't agree with things I'm saying, ask yourself why you don't agree with it. And if you don't agree with it, why don't you agree with it? And within that why, where have you got the why from? Okay, so you don't agree with something I've said. It's like, okay, so why? Because the belief that you hold is contrary to the belief that I'm suggesting, okay? So the belief that I hold is contrary to the belief that I'm suggesting. Your belief and my belief are different, okay? Where has your belief come from? Where have the facts, the figures, the opinions, the ions buzzing around, what has made you think that? Where has it come from, okay? Multiple sources, but likely a large big thing of it is the media, okay? Okay, let's go back to the COVID example, because, for example, I know people talk about Bill Gates a lot, okay? So you've got the BBC, you've got Bill Gates, you've got the COVID vaccine, you've got Pfizer, okay? Bill Gates, this is just an example that's probably understandable. Bill Gates was invested in Pfizer and the COVID vaccine was through them, okay? So Bill Gates, Pfizer, COVID, vaccine, money. Yes, they profited, Pfizer profited from it. This is the media, so call it the BBC. This is publicly available information. It's on a pie chart on the BBC website, or at least it was. A pie chart of where they get their donations from. A certain percentage, 30 odd percent, comes from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Okay, COVID vaccine, Bill Gates, Pfizer, profit, donations, media, pushing the vaccine, conflict of interest. Is there not, at the very least, a conflict of interest if the person or company or group that create a vaccine, that gain profit from said vaccine, that contribute to the running of the media company that then shares possible, questionable, and since proven misinformation regarding said vaccine to then profit more? Conflict of interest? So we're going back to the example that I gave about the vaccine. Okay, so I'm anti-vax. Where have you got that information? Who's talking anti-vax? What is it? It's an ideological label attached to someone that questions a narrative. But the narrative that's being questioned, from my stance at least, was on the basis of my prior experience and the suggestion that there was and is a conflict of interest there. Okay, so you disagree with my anti-vax status, but now, actually, this view which making you not like me, because that's ultimately what happens in this day and age, you disagree with my view about the vaccine because you hold a view about it, but you're emotionally connected to the view, which then makes you dislike me. But now you can see that we're just two people trying to figure out this world and what's going on around us. I've got to look after my dog, I've got to look after my kid, I've got to do the dishes. I'm trying to make the best of the situation that I'm in. So, but we think in terms of ideological labels that divide us. And I'm just the same as you. You cut me open and I bleed red. Or someone with darker skin, you cut them open, guess what colour they bleed? But we don't think in terms of that. We think in terms of that it's important to have certain culture. It's important to be attached to a group, to be part of a label, to be part of a mini herd. The safety and comfort and being part of it. We're safe if we're together in this group of people that listen to Rick Ross, for example. And that makes me part of the culture. You didn't like the Rick Ross example then? There's no one there? Actually, the light is on. Do you want me to look? I think I made my point, anyway. Alright, good boy, good boy. Let me just... You're alright, you're alright. It's just a car. It's just a car. It's just a car. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, see? Guard dogs, baby. Bam, 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 bam. Good boy. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. Anyway, yeah, so being, I don't know, man. It all ties in. All of it. All of it ties in. And all of it, none of it seems conducive with just people being happy. And just everyone just getting on. It all seems very much linked to the people that have got the money, keeping the money and not letting anyone else have a share, especially the people that don't have it. Which strikes me as, at the very least, unfair. I think it's very important that everyone, equality of opportunity is important. Because like, just because you're born into money, that doesn't make any freaking different. Like I was born into a jawline and you know, nice eyes. I don't, you know, haven't been told that. But like, this is another thing that grinds my gears. Like, good-looking people that think they're the shit. Well, sorry, mate. You just got born, and then you got lucky, or like maybe not so lucky if it's really good looking. You were born and you got this shit. So why does that make you? I'm sorry. Why does that make you better than me? Why does that mean that you can, you know, have more advantageous situations than I do? It's weird, isn't it? The world. And frankly, it doesn't feel like it's set up terribly well now. And I think that there probably is quite a large shift happening. People are becoming happier, I think. People are becoming more in tune with their true selves. People are becoming more open to spirituality. People are becoming definitely open to the fact that organized religion and faith are two very, very different things. You know, the Catholic Church specifically, look, I'm not slating Catholicism at all. What I'm slating is the people that within Catholicism who have damaged the reputation of Christianity. And that's not all of Catholics. My wife is Catholic. My son is soon to be, most likely. So, but there are people that have, the damage, the cover-ups and all that have caused the Christianity in the world as a result. It's frightening. It's frightening. But because of that, everyone's been turned off it a bit, but they're coming back to it. But not in the sense of, in the sense of organised religion and faith are two very, very, very different things. Picking sides it seems misguided. I really like, from what I've read and what I understand, I really like some of the way that Islam worships the higher power, what they call Allah. I think it's really cool, the fasting and getting close to God. And I've tried fasting. There is more spiritual shit going on that we're aware of, but I think there's a shift to being more aware of it, which is good and important. Yeah, because it's important to understand what went wrong. Correct, man on the telly. Who's that Clarence Seedorf? So, yeah, you're on TV, lad. So, if you're born with a certain thing, girls get this quite a lot. You know, those girls that the shit don't stink. The girls with the shit don't stink. You were just born like that. That doesn't make you any better. But we live in a society that says that it does, but it doesn't. Means fucking nothing. Being good looking means absolutely nothing. Celebrity culture and Hollywood, like, got so much to answer for. Honestly, they fucked up our minds so bad, so badly, that being good looking and rich and having a Lamborghini is the goal of life. And the goal of young women is to be like Beyonce. Jesus Louise. I think there's possibly a large possibility that she's sort of now in a position that you do it or you're in trouble. But so damaging that to young women. That's what you should hope to be. That's all you can be as a young girl, is shake your tail feather. If you like it, should have put a ring on it. Like, is that really what's important in life? As a woman, as a young woman, do you think that's the right messaging to send? If I had a daughter, I had some nieces with an ex, and they were very, very important to me. Excuse my French. And that is not. I felt a fatherly duty to them. That is not the type of messaging that I think is appropriate for young girls and women. That's how you, using your physical assets, your boobs and your bum, and being a sexualized object to be stared at and idolized, is what they look up to and want to be like. I'm sorry. I don't feel comfortable with that at all. I don't feel comfortable with that at all. That's what women should be aspire to be like. I think that's incredibly damaging to women all over the world. Incredibly damaging. It's like saying to them that that's how you will be successful, by getting your tits out and dancing on stage. And I'm sorry, that's quite brutal, but women aren't. That's not what women should be like. That's not a woman. It's a false idol. Exploiting. That's scary. It's just dawned on me. It's exploiting. It's like we live in the Hunger Games, honestly, that society. They're exploiting women and girls, and then we live in a society that makes them want to be like that. What, like, our young girls should be aspiring to be so much more. And I don't mean career-wise, capitalism-wise. Like, we're missing something in today's society. We're missing the link between God and the holy within this tangible, practical consciousness that we find ourselves in. I find myself in, at least. There's a link. I think it just feels backwards. It feels very much like reform is. I don't mean politically. I mean globally. I mean, why is it set up that way? Why is sex? It's probably to stop us having kids. and they don't know how else to handle it. And this has just been, they know they've been losing control for a long time, and they've twisted us into this because it was over time. They just lost control. The people that had control of the West, they were exploiting women. Oh my goodness, if I had a daughter, it's a good thing that I don't right now. I'm telling you. I feel so protected. I think there's a link between God and women. And there's a huge, right, this is something that's been playing on my mind as well. Having dogs, they're very, very holy. They're very spiritual. They're very healing. They're very emotional. They're very empathic, very empathetic. They're very unique. They're very powerful. They're very pure. The sensitivities of the empath bring you closer to source. Women are, I've been playing around an idea in my mind about closeness, proximity to source. And if you're emotionally sensitive, as women are and dogs are, that means that you're closer to God, I think. I think we're missing something in today's society where women should be. Women are the creators of life, Mother Nature, right? But we don't live in a society that celebrates women, celebrates life, reveres the gift of life, the only important thing in the history of everything. And we don't see that. We don't make that celebrity. We don't make that the dopamine hit. So having a kid and looking after your kid properly, it's almost like you get not less of a dopamine hit. That's the wrong thing, but for young men, I'm thinking all this through as I'm doing it. I think we've got it all wrong societally. And I think it's probably linked to the people that have control losing it and not wanting to lose it. And they've twisted us through the media. And our value set is now all completely skewed and normalized. And if you speak out or you think out the side of the box, you're pariahed. These make me really tired, these conversations, because it's draining me. When you get an idea, or you voice or act or anything, it's not actually you doing the thing. So where are my words coming from? What is it that's pushing these words? What's the soul, the personality? What is that inside that's doing this? I would suggest that me as Adam, soon to be probably different to Adam, but where does an idea come from? Where are these words coming from? You say it's just coming from, but where? Where is it coming from? I would suggest that there's a possibility that it's coming from source, which is why they always say when athletes do something like amazing, they always say thanks to God or Jesus. They thank, because they understand that it's the source, it's the spirit, it's their God through them doing it, and they're just the manifestation of light hitting objects and energies that's allowing this to happen. That's why humility is incredibly important. It's not actually the person doing it. That's what I think. It's not actually me doing it. It's God through me. It's God through my dog. And there are certain beings within the human, practical, tangible realm that are closer to God through natural selection, natural capabilities, abilities. I think women should be absolutely revered, celebrated, protected. I think that's the job of the man. I think that's the burden of the man, actually. I think that's the burden of the man, but in an important sense, because women are very, very important. Women are more important. Not more important. What's the word? They're not more important because one can't exist without the other. It's different. Neither one's more important than the other. It's just different. And we should love the differences and celebrate them and not try and move away from them. Women should be protected and encouraged to do what they're good at, and likewise for men. And I think that all right. Anyway, I'm tired now. Good boy. It's just a car outside. Yeah, man. It's all gonna come out soon. 9/11's coming out, JFK's coming out, Epstein's coming out. It's all coming out. And that is quite a scary pill to swallow for anyone that's believes everything they see on the telly. I don't want to say that it sounds judgmental, but if your opinions are based widely upon what you see on the telly, which is everyone to a certain extent, but more than others, then the next few years are going to be quite eye-opening for you, I would suggest. And it's quite scary. But you'll be fine. We will all be fine because we're all going to come together and it's going to work out, isn't it? It's going to work out. It is going to work out. We're clocking on to things improving. We're clocking on to, we call it Christ consciousness, but organised faith and religion are not, organised religion and faith are not the same. And it's really cool that people are clocking on to that now again. Don't know what's my water. So there is hope, and I was scared that there wasn't, but there is. So bloody hell. All right, I'm done. 48 minutes. That's like 2 hours today from talking to a screen. Oh gosh. It's going to be very useful for people in future like this, though. It's like a new memoirs, I guess, isn't it? Unedited, unabashed, genuine, real memoirs of how this man that spouted all of these crazy ideas ended up where he ended up. And that is the exciting bit. Around the sky, when will we see your light again? Bye, internet. Everything's fucked. Bye, internet. What are you doing, shitty juggy?